Welcome back to Smash Bros. Ultimate. Here we are, in the base. And our first enemy is the Pyramid from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the Subspace Emissary campaign. In the Subspace Emissary, Pyramids were your most basic enemy. They were basically the Goombas of the Subspace Army. And their model, their design, was also used by the Shadow Bugs, who were a little bit more threatening because they could at least form together to create a more potent enemy. These guys were just jobbers, and I'm gonna beat the hell out of all of them with my Metal Mario. Now that I can actually turn him into metal, which makes him even more appropriate. So, you'll notice that we're playing on Pokemon Stadium. The reason for that is that I believe, if I remember correctly, Pokemon Stadium, or at least a very similar level to it, was the first level you encountered in Subspace Emissary. The literal tutorial fight had you battling on the stadium, so yeah. Anyway, those are the Pyramids. Pretty basic enemies. I think that's one of the few Smash Bros. Exclusive spirits we've received as well, so this base is basically closed off into different quadrants, all numbered, so you have to hack these terminals in order to give yourself clearance. Now, this particular base does have one of the most infamous battles in all of Smash Bros. Within it. You'll know it when we get to it, so starting a little bit easier, here is 9 volts and 18 volt. So this battle did take me an upsettingly long time to beat, about half an hour, because, and I only figured this out while playing this, you're supposed to kill the sheriff who spawns in. I didn't know you could even hit the sheriff. Because if you don't shoot that sheriff, he will float around and shoot you perfectly. He will snipe you to death. And there's little you can do to stop him, so yeah, in order to actually stand a chance against these guys, beating the sheriff is necessary. Yeah, this is a hard one. So here's the victory run. As for the characters themselves, 19 and 18 volt, they appear in the WarioWare series. 9 volt's a little kid. 18 volt is allegedly also a little kid, despite looking like a man in his 20s. I think that's the joke. And they're massive Nintendo nerds, so their microgames are all Nintendo themed. Like Smash Bros-esque Nintendo minigames, so yeah. And what is also very cool is that the character I'm playing as, 5 volts, is 9 volt's mother, and there she is skulking in the background as well. Because the gamer minigame, just to remind you, is literally about 9 volt trying to play his game, while 5 volt tries to give him a bollocking for it. We get the Zap Floor immunity from them also, which I almost feel is like a clever reference to how, if you have a bunch of video game console set up, you have a bunch of fucking wires everywhere, so they organize their gaming systems. Anyway, over here, not there, over here, we have, if I can interact with it, the Parasite Queen from Metroid Prime. Parasite Queen was the very first boss you fought in the Metroid Prime trilogy, and like so many enemies in the Metroid series, she is a biological weapon engineered by the space pirates, because if anything goes wrong in the Metroid universe, it's probably the space pirates' fault. They kind of suck in every way. Anyway, quick and easy battle, just donked that Ridley in the head, knocking him right off. And now let's hack this next terminal, or these next few terminals. This one here gives us access to another spirit, and that one allows us through the 2 doors. Brilliant. So, this next spirit on the left here is Rob64, as he appears in the Star Fox series. So, Rob64 is the robotic operator of the Great Fox, the mothership of the Star Fox team. So, with Rob's help, the Great Fox itself is basically autonomous, which means that the Star Fox crew don't have to expend any of their staff, you know, looking after home base. So that is really neat. Anyway, to represent his, you know, alliance with the Star Fox team, we have a fox appearing in the battle as well. And a Falco, because, you know, that's the crew for ya. On top of that, what I think is quite cool about this battle is that we're fighting a Rob. You know, the real-life peripheral that Rob 64 is based off of. In fact, I'd argue that that coloration of Rob is specifically a reference to Rob 64. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on from there, our next spirits. Up here is the infamous one. This next battle, I don't find it that hard, mostly because I have auto heal on, but it's definitely a war of attrition. This is Dr. Wily, the main antagonist of the Mega Man series, a 4-star spirit, and the way this battle works is that Wily himself only appears at the very end, as he would in a Mega Man game, with very little health because he's not much of a fighter. But you do have to fight 8 Metal Mega Men to represent the Robot Masters. The 8 Robot Masters appearing in any given Mega Man game, so... yeah, this battle just fucking goes on, and it just doesn't stop, and... here's the thing, if you're playing as a character with a reflector and with auto-heal, this is not too tricky. You just sit back, spam your reflector, and let your gradual healing look after you. However, if you want to get up in their grill in this fight, you are going to suffer, because you have, I remind you, 9 enemies to go through altogether. That's a lot, and even watching my strategy now, I am just running away from them, gaining some distance, so I can spam projectiles just like them. And even that's not doing all too well for me, so... yeah, this fight can be a real bastard if you're not properly prepared for it. But it is not nearly as bad as the Pauline fight, it really isn't, like... the difficulty in this one just comes from the longevity of it. It is easily the longest fight in the game. In fact, I will be speeding this up to save you all the pain of it. One thing I do appreciate about this fight, you know, you have the Mega Man level, which lets you see Wily's castle, which always looks fucking cool. I love the design of Wily's castle. And also the music. It's the Dr. Wily Stage 1 music from Mega Man 2, which... honestly, even though it could arguably be claimed as being overplayed, is like my favourite song in all of Mega Man. It's just such a goddamn hype song, so yeah. Anyway, this is me just trying to beat one of them. Like, he's just so very evasive. Just gotta land those good hits on him. And if all else goes wrong, final smashes are a good way of ending it. Okay, fuck you, get dead. And final smash time. Let's chunk a little bit of HP out of these next goons to save me some stress. And yeah, here comes the speed up. Here comes the fast motion. Because honestly, this does all just play out the same sort of way. Again, war of attrition. That's really all this battle is, so yeah. And healing is pretty necessary. I've seen a lot of challenge videos on YouTube of people trying to do this fight either without spirits or just, you know, without any kind of healing, and Godspeed, you brave, brave fools. I do not see the appeal of that at all. I think I'll be fine. I think I'll live. Let me just sit back and spam my shit, thank you very much. That's how I intend to do this. So yeah, a lot of people in this LP started were like, off the bat, I was receiving the odd message about how, oh god, I can't wait for the Wily battle, I can't wait to see how you do against Wily, and... he was fine. I was at low percentage for most of it, because I kind of got my shit kicked in right near the beginning, but I managed to hold it, I managed to sustain it, with the gradual healing and the spam, just the endless spam. The final smashes, doubled every time. It was all just enough to make this doable, and here is the Doctor himself. Holy shit, the first time I ever played this, on my first ever playthrough of this, I lost to the Doctor. Having nearly killed him, he had like 5 HP left, and he killed me, and I was ready to rage quit Smash Bros. Forever. And even now, the Doctor is, like, needlessly evasive and tricky to actually land hits on, which is, I mean, that's fair. It's Dr. Wily, he's a big coward. Mega Man, for all intents and purposes, shouldn't be attacking him because Asimov's laws of robotics, but hey, you know. That guy's a fucker. That's like, how many games now has he tried to take over the world? 10? 11? I think we're up to 11 now, and that's not counting spin-offs. So, get dead, Wily, you bastard. Go away, Dr. Wowie. So, for defeating him, we get the Jam FS charge ability, which slows down our opponent's final smash meter. Thank God he wasn't actually using that on me, or that battle would have been even longer. So, there we go. Moving on, we have Porygon, a normal type Pokemon from Generation 1. And representing Porygon, a digital Pokemon created to traverse between computers, we have a Polygonal Mac, a Polygon Man, and also Akira, who is also made of 32-bit polygons, so I dig that, that's very clever. Also the Pokemon Stadium to represent the Pokemon elements. Porygon himself is sadly associated with a particular incident regarding the Pokemon anime, in which a bunch of Japanese kids were sent to hospital for seizures. Because there's like a Porygon that fires a missile, Pikachu sets off the missile, cue giant red and blue flashing light explosion, and many trips to the hospital. Not a fun time, not Pokemon's proudest moments. Anyway, moving on, we have Bomb Man. After dealing with all those Robot Masters earlier, this is kind of a joke. It's just Bomb Man. So yeah, Bomb Man is a Robot Master from the original Mega Man. A real highlight of the fact that the Robot Masters were originally just construction robots. And he was the demolitions guy. He had lots of bombs in order to help destroy buildings, which Wily then co-opted to turn him into a, well, a terrorist, I suppose. Just having him blow shit up with his bombs. Anyway, he was fairly easy to beat in the game itself, and his power-up, the bomb power-up, while hard to use, because you had to, like, aim it and throw it correctly, was really, really useful if mastered. So yeah, that's Bomb Man. He lets us start off with a Bob-omb, which, holy shit, that is really good. In fact, I imagine there's quite a few battles that I can insta-win with that kind of power, so hey. Here is Duon. Duon is one of the bosses who appears in the Subspace Emissary in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So Duon's whole gimmick is that it is basically a rolling tank, but it can attack from both sides. There's a head on either side. One is more focused on physical attacks, and the other one on shooting attacks. Hence why we've got two Ice Climbers. One is using their mallet, and the other is using the Super Scope that they started the battle with. So, yeah, one thing you can do on this battle that you can't really do in Smash Brawl is divide and conquer. So, let's get right up in their grill and start hitting them with some big attacks and maybe blow them away. Look at that. There we go. Oh, fuck. Alright. They may be a bit too big for me to effectively blow them off the stage. How about more shooting? More shots, more damage. Also, this is a stamina battle, so I got that going for me. And I'm just going to pepper their own attacks back at them as well. Lovely. It's quite weird seeing Raiden, of all characters, use a gun, but then again, I guess you could use guns in Metal Gear Rising, but why would you? You have your amazing goddamn sword. Anyway, you are about to be dead. And that is Duon. Also, the stage we were playing on is the Halberd, which played quite a big part in that campaign. Not so much in this one, sadly. Anyway, number 3, more clearance. Ooh. That looks like it's actually going to help me get towards the end, so let's backtrack on ourselves a bit. Such is the nature of this base. So up here, we have Revolver Ocelot, as he appears in Metal Gear Solid 3. He is one of the major antagonists of the Metal Gear Solid series, as he always seems opposed to whatever Snake you are currently playing as, regardless of their affiliations, so... Anyway, Revolver Ocelot's whole gimmick is that he is a crack shot, and he is. His shooting ability is borderline unparalleled. And his main gimmick, other than being such a sharpshooter, is making weird cat noises and acting like an actual ocelot. Such is the theming of the Foxhound operatives, who are all animal-themed. Anyway, the fact that he is ocelot-themed, I guess that's part of the reason why he's being played by a fox. It's probably more a reference to Foxhound, the organisation. But you'll notice the electric floor. That is entirely based on a torture sequence from Metal Gear Solid 1, in which Ocelot hooks you up and tries to electrocute information out of you. Shit is genuinely horrible. As many of the Metal Gear spirits seem to be when you give them any kind of thought. So yeah. That series is not child-friendly, not remotely. Anyway, moving on, let's head back down. And let's interact with that whole new computer that has opened up. Where am I going? That's not where I'm going. I'm going down this way. There we are. Let's interact with number 5. That gives us the way out, I assume. Alright, well, before I go that way, I do want to come over here and see what I can find. We have a snack. A good, big, tasty snack. And, oh, the boss is there. Alright, in that case, I now actually have to run all the way back now. That's the annoying thing about non-linear dungeons. Sometimes it's very easy to, fuck's sake, find yourself in the complete wrong place. And also make wrong turns, because some of the controls on this overworld are a bit... I don't know what. Anyway. In here, we have the cardboard box, a staple of the Metal Gear series, where the snakes like to hide. And speaking of Metal Gear, here's Metal Gear Rex. So Metal Gear Rex is the Metal Gear that appears in the original Metal Gear Solid. A giant walking nuclear death tank. So yeah, it was essentially created by Otacon. We actually did see it in Otacon's battle while it was protecting him. And now we actually have to take it on, so... Here's a pair of Robs who are just going fucking hog wild on us with all of their shots, as the Metal Gears are wont to do. They really are just like walking arsenals. But thankfully, Raiden has a penchant for slashing Metal Gears in half, so this shouldn't be too tricky. I just need to get in those hits and not get bodied. There we go. Fuck. Oh, it's close. Ooh. There it is. And that is Metal Gear Rex. One of the highlights of the series is at the end of 4, where you get to have a big Metal Gear on Metal Gear battle. That shit is dope. I just felt like mentioning it. After all that Metal Gear, how could it not be Snake? Of course it's Snake. Let's take on Solid Snake himself. Snake is actually a title, in case you hadn't gathered that from context clues, given to a bunch of super soldiers. Originally there was Naked Snake, who was later promoted to become Big Boss. And then there was a project called Los Enfants Terribles. I'm pretty sure I butchered that. And it was basically a cloning project in which Big Boss's cells were taken and used to create both Solid Snake, who is the main protagonist of the Metal Gear series as a whole, and also Liquid Snake, who is one of the main antagonists. So yeah, he's a little bit salty about getting the inferior genes and a British accent out of absolutely nowhere. I don't know where he got that from. There's probably a canonical reason he talks like that. Anyway, there goes Snake, defeated by Raiden, who basically replaced him in Metal Gear Solid 2, and succeeded him with Metal Gear Rising. Alright, so now it's time for us to do that walk of shame. Let's just run all the way back now, and get to our second proper boss fight in this Alright, only, what, 25 episodes in, and we're now getting to the second boss, so... That's promising, I guess. Here it is. You may recognise from the silhouette, but much like Giga Bowser, this is a boss from a previous Smash game. This is Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Subspace Emissaries Gallium. Now, when I first got up to this fight, I remembered to myself, Gallium was fucking easy. What have they done to make him harder in this? The answer is nothing. This is a very easy fight. He telegraphs his attacks so hard. I can almost do this without getting hit. Almost. Like, if I do get hit, it's more out of impatience and, more my own foolishness than anything else. So, yeah. He's a big F-off robot, and there's not much more to him than that. He looks like someone out of Mega Man. He looks almost Gutsman-esque, which is interesting because Mega Man wasn't yet introduced into the series in Brawl, so yeah. I like to think he was almost like Nintendo's own way of acknowledging Mega Man way back when. Anyway, he's now gotten angry, he's in his desperation modes, and one of his moves is kind of bullshit in this mode and did catch me off guard. That one, where he just falls from the sky. Like, the only thing that gives you the hint he's going to do that, is the shadow. So, if you can react quick enough to that shadow and get out of its way, you're probably fine. Anyway, just wrecking this fool with my revolver ocelots. Because, you know, if anyone's going to take down a big metal tank, it's going to be a Metal Gear Solid villain. And I think he's nearly done. Just a couple more choice hits. If I could just burn through that defense, which all of the bosses get when they get to low health, which I don't appreciate. Stop trying to land on my head. I'm going to kill you with 69 damage and you aren't going to stop me. Fuck you. You ruined it. You ruined everything, you bastard. Oh, you're so dead now. I'm going to kick you right in the grill. Kerdonk. And that is Gallium. Easiest boss in the game. Much easier than Giga Bowser. Because at least he kind of had like a small stage to bully you on. Anyway, there he is. Easy fight. And that's a lot of shit. Thank you, game. Now, how does Galeem feel about this? That's my question. I'm going to assume he's not going to take it well. Let's see. Base acquired. Taken for myself. And there goes part of your shield. Wait, is that the whole shield? Is it gone? No, it's just weakens. Alright, I need to beat one more boss in order to break it. Well, let's go towards that boss, I guess. Here we go. But first, I have some leveling up to do. Let's give some of our snacks to Revolver Ocelot here. Now, I thought this was going to turn him into Liquid Ocelot, but no. What it does is it turns him into his Metal Gear 5 appearance. Which, considering that's the only Metal Gear game I haven't played, yeah, that's cool. That's neat. Very gunslinger. Also, Kangaskhan, becoming her overpowered Mega form, where you have two Pokemon out at once. That gives you the double Final Smash, though, which, that's clever. I like the idea behind that. It lets you use the same move twice. This is Tsubasa Uribe in her Carnage form. I really need to play that game because it just sounds like the weirdest thing in the goddamn world, based on what I've seen. And one more to upgrade. It is Metal Gear Rex into the Sahelanthropus. I think I said that right. This was created by Otacon's evil dad in 5.